No one's gonna read all these. You're just skimming, right? You're just trying to find for like nuggets of value, and then like when you see something that catches your eye, got more realistic scenarios that someone's just gonna open it 20 seconds. Did I get hooked or not? Portfolios are just like an exercise on like storytelling. The outcome that you want to drive with that story, it's for people to be like, oh wait, I actually want to learn more about. I honestly think this is the best kind of like detailed page of the whole portfolio. Like I also did kind of like look into like the other case study, and like, yeah, it was equally good. Yeah, I like a lot of things. First of all, that kind of like video playing at the top, I think that's pretty cool. Like it almost feels like you should be doing more of that, like just showing. It starts kind of like painting a story, right? Like, oh, okay, this is an app about like payments, and there's like QR code, and there's like, I don't know. It starts like telling you a story, and with the title on the video, improving the UX and CX of a contactless food ordering app, and then you see that you start getting kind of like immersed into the story. I think the way that things are being displayed, kind of like with the headings to the left and the text to the right, it also makes it pretty easy to follow, and that's a big thing about portfolios, is that sometimes they're just like the case study looks interesting, but I mean, just so people know, like no one's gonna read all these, like you're just skimming, right? You're just trying to find for like nuggets of like value, and then like when you see something that catches your eye, then you read like that thing that caught your eye, right? So like I think this portfolio, like with this layout, is very good for that. It allows you to kind of like, okay, let me just go back and forth, like understand, like see his artifacts, like try to see what was he thinking about, like with the solutions and what are the problems. So yeah, I really felt that like I learned like a couple of things just by like of what he did with this app, just like without like needing to read too much through it. So I see a lot of a lot of value just in the way that this layout is being presented. Like the content, I mean, like this is always kind of like a big one, which is like, what content should I put in my case study, right? Like what artifacts should I put in my case study? I don't know if he had more. I don't know if he had more to show, but I think like the one that he showed, it's good, and it explains like real UX issues. Like, oh, like for instance, the one with the sign up. There's like the user journey of your sign up. If you position the sign up page like as a kind of like like as a gatekeeper of your experience, you might not be helping your users to get like engaged and then like actually signing up. Like he kind of like goes and explains that, and I really didn't have to read it. I just like a couple lines here and there, and just like the context of the screens gave me all that information, right? So I think that's pretty cool. Even the interactivity of like the headings just kind of like stick to the top while you're scrolling. I mean, this is solid. I really
solid.
Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna give him?
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a solid. Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
You love to hear it.
Let's go. Prakash, feel good about yourself.
From man 0.5 to good to solid. You love to hear
Let's
it.
go.
Gosh.
That's a way to build it. It's better than solid to
Needs
good
an overhaul.
to meh.
Yeah. But to be like the important thing here is that like impressions matter, right? So like it seems that the good stuff was in the case study, but what are the chances that as someone who is hiring a designer, based on the first impression that his homepage gave me, what are the chances that I'm gonna land on this one, right? So there's a lot of kind of like it might be a lot of like rearrangement of like pieces and like trying to like, I think like the potential of this portfolio is just hidden behind the storytelling and like the order of like the information that he's presenting, right? If he nails that, I think like he could have a pretty cool portfolio.
Yeah, totally.
I think I have to agree with one of the first thing that you said, which was that video. At first, like, whoa, this just grabs my attention instantly because it's 100%. Such a professional looking video. And for a second, I wondered, wait, did he take that video himself? Because in his about page, he took some pretty serious, some pretty good shots as well. But I was like, probably not. But anyway, it's kind of a cool way to help me connect. In a weird way, just ups the entire page quality by a long shot, and it's just a video. that he just uploaded, right? So it's kind of an interesting thing to think about. It's like we are so irrational in the way we judge those pages, and this video just wow. Okay, I don't see that every day, so that was a good thing. And then the next thing that really shocked me on this entire thing, yeah, so like you said, the information architecture of the page, having the sticky headers follow you, so you're still in context with what's happening, and then okay, so it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing for him, but I think it's a good thing, but it could be divisive. I think in the way he presented his findings part 1 all the way through part 4, where it's like UX issue with sign up, here is the solution. It's a lot of quick back and forth, and so it's super nice for hiring managers who don't want to spend too much time. They just want to, okay, so I just care about one. I'm not going to read everything, but at least it gives you, here is the problem, here is the solution. It's such a quick snapshot, and I think it's so cool because we don't see that super often. We often see, here is the problem, here's all the things that I've done, and it's like pages and pages worth of stuff, and then at the end the solution, right? And so and that's why I'm saying I don't know if it's a pro and a con, but I feel like it's very unusual. And at least it caught my attention as to, wow, it's not a usual structure of how it's typically laid out. And that kind of helps me also to feel like, wow, he does things differently. And I want to talk to this guy, right? But that's just important. Me, right? So
it's important to point out there, though, that like a lot of times people do this very wrong when they do problem solution because they don't talk about their why. One thing that Prakash does very well for the most part is talk about why he makes his decisions. So like as you're going through it, you can see you can read why he made the decisions and understand it. And like realistically, this entire case study that he's showing is 4 case studies or 4 or 5, all in a course of 2 years in one screen. And so the only downside of this is like if I wanted to read more about one specific part of this, or like I wanted to know more about this first thing, the sign up.
You have to invite him and have him come over,
which is good.
At the office.
But I guess the only other side of that too, which I'm sure Juan will 100% back me up on. I know you will too, a little bit, because you're like my other brother, so I know that. But is the fact that like I can see his visual design ish, but I can't actually see the final thing. And so I wish he had his Figma screens here so I could see what he designed. So that way, because I can kind of see it, but I can't zoom in on this. And down here, I can't actually see, but like barely. I can, but from a glance, I can tell this guy knows what he's doing generally with this. Like his visual design is on point. Like I don't see any issues. I don't think that anything here has like problems. There might be some ever so slight visual accessibility issues, but generally, I can tell this guy knows what he's doing, which is awesome. It's just I wish I could see a little bit more. And so like I would also agree, Juan, I'd give him a solid as well. I'd give him a 4. And it's like I just want to get a little bit more on like maybe your decision making or like the research, but not much. But then like really the final, like what are your final screens so I can see what you produced.
Right. Yeah, no, I think like, okay, so like here's the thing about like portfolios in general. Like portfolios are just like an exercise on like storytelling, right? And like the outcome that you want to drive with like that story, it's for people to be like, oh wait, like I actually want to learn more about that person in like a call or like in person or whatever. As like we were talking before, it's like kind of like trying to like come to the office and we will talk, or like jump into a call and we will talk. So like it's kind of funny how like portfolios are also kind of like an act of like trying to kind of like tell a lot about yourself, saying very little. So not too much. So people are kind of like, oh, okay, like I actually want to learn more. I will say that I agree with you, Colton, that like it's I think like maybe there could be a little bit more emphasis on the visual artifacts that are being produced. Like even the storytelling could use some improvement, because like background story, product challenge, problems to solve, and then you talking to users, questions asked. It's even kind of hard to understand, like, is he talking about the same problem all the time, or like is he jumping between problems?
Yeah.
I mean, like the layout is so good, the information architecture is so good, the it's kind of like there's a lot of good things here, but there's always like an opportunity to make this like a more clear, linear story that takes you to the desired outcome, which is like, let me call this guy,
That's why I was saying in terms of his findings, part 1 through 4, right? It feels like it's such an unusual thing to go so fast between, you know, the problem, the issue, and then the solution that I was like, it could either go in his favor or not. And I don't know.
Right.
And it really depends on the hiring manager, right? I feel like for me, overall, seeing the entire portfolio would be like, I actually want to talk to this guy. I need to know more, right? But someone else might say, oh, wow, I wish I knew more about the why, right? More like, can he unfold problems more? And then you wouldn't give him a call, right? But that's why it's always 50-50, right? So
So Ludovic, what would you give this?
I think I'll give it a... it's so unusual. It's so solid. I think I'll give him a solid. I was between good and solid. I was kind of in between.
Nice. Well, Prakash is our first portfolio that we reviewed that's gotten a solid on anything.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yeah, boy!
So far, with the previous few that we've done, we've not given out a solid, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but here's one caveat too, you know, like... No, I'm just gonna say these words very important. Like, it's like we could be like, just like, it started with like a so-so mood and like ending up in a good mood, you know? Like, maybe we did this tomorrow again with like different moods. We will be like, man, you know? Because like, I'm not saying that his portfolio is man. I'm saying that like, it's a very fluid type of thing when you're like reviewing a portfolio. And in the real world, when people are like reviewing multiple portfolios, what's gonna happen is that like, it's gonna hit you as you are, you know, like at that particular moment, right? So like we had like a little bit more time to digest it, like find the good things about it, like value all the great work he has done and like all the growth that he has done as a designer. But it's also like very kind of like synthetic situation, you know, like a more realistic scenario is that someone is just gonna open it like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
100%. Did I get hooked or not? You know?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.